What up, gamers? I'm Jason.
I'm Julie.
And today on Dice & Dragons, we are going to be reviewing this eagerly awaited expansion. It is the Black Widow Hero Pack for Marvel Champions, the card game published by Fantasy Flight Games. This specific expansion pack was designed by Caleb Grace and Matt Newman with some additional work by Michael Boggs. Now, I hope I got that right. The information is unfortunately not easily available. Had to look at the insert inside the box to get all of it. Now, with that being said, Julie will now tell you more about the game itself. Well, not the expansion, the game.
Yes, because the expansion goes with the game, which is a cooperative game that plays 1 to 4 player, ages 14 and above. Supposed to play in 45 to 90 minutes. However, I think we found that it can be a little bit faster, 2 players, and it's definitely on the 90 longer side with more players, right?
Yes, 100% agree on that. I would say that if you're playing 4 players, you're going to get far closer to 2 hour, even potentially towards the 3 hour mark, just because of the amount of management that you're going to be doing. Now, what are you doing in Marvel Champions? Well, you're going to be able to, at the end of this video, and you probably should have watched the other video first anyway, but there'll be a link back to our review and how to play of Marvel Champions. In the game, 1 to 4 players will take on the role of their favorite Marvel hero. They will work at defeating the villain while defeating their minions, as well as foiling their dastardly scheme, which could be something as simple as robbing a bank or world domination. Now, do you think I'm missing anything there, Julie?
I think you got it all.
All right, so we're going to move on to the next step in just a moment. The way we are doing this review is we are going to have the components coming up. After that, Julie and I will talk to you a little bit about how to play with Black Widow. I think she does differ greatly from some of the other heroes that you get in this game. And in a good way, actually.
Well, we'll get to that. Don't skip ahead. So
well, I mean, it's good to have differences. Like, it's not like she plays like...
Okay, you're getting it, yeah.
Okay.
So, time to grab our drinks.
Grab our best friend.
We'll take it to the table, and then we'll review and give our opinion.
Yes, we're going to review it. Don't worry. Keep it right here. Now let's take a look at the components for the Black Widow Hero Pack for Marvel Champions, the card game. Now here we've got basically the credits, a little bit of information about Black Widow, the details about her pre-made deck, and discusses the new preparation ability. On the back of this rule sheet, well, closest thing I can think to call it, we also do get a Black Widow poster. Now, I just took the pack and I split it up into the different sections. We, of course, have the Black Widow deck. So this is all of her specific cards. We get Natasha Romanoff, Black Widow. So her alter ego ability is Mission Prep. After you play a preparation card, draw 1 card. Her Widowmaker ability, which is Response. After you trigger the ability of a preparation card, deal 1 damage to an enemy. You also get allies like the Winter Soldier. Reduce the cost to play the Winter Soldier by 1 for each preparation card you control. Means it's easy to get in and out of your deck. Covert Ops. Remove 4 threat from a scheme and confuse the villain. That's a really good card. Dance of Death. Make the following 3 attacks in order. So deal 1 damage to an enemy, then 2, then 3. Pretty cool. Safe House 29. Exhaust Safe House number 29 to choose a preparation card from your discard pile. Add it back to your hand. Attack Robotics. This is the first preparation card we're looking at. You can see it because it's marked on the card. When a boost card is turned face up, you get to discard this. And then you cancel the boost icons on the card and deal 1 damage to the villain for each boost icon canceled that way. That's nasty. Exhaust Black Widow's Gauntlet to generate a resource to play a preparation card. Grappling Hook, which is another interrupt when you reveal a treachery. Discard Grappling Hook to cancel the effects of the card. Her Armor, the Synth Suit, gains 1 defense, and after you trigger the ability of a preparation card, you can ready Black Widow again. So Widow's Bite, heroes respond to an attack. After a minion enters play, discard Widow's Bite to deal 2 damage to that minion and stun it. Her Obligation, Burn Notice. You may flip to alter ego form and then choose what to do. So either remove, exhaust Natasha Romanoff, get the card done from the game, or discard the preparation card you control with the highest cost. If you cannot, this card obtains Surge, which is definitely not fun. So as you can see, it's got the back for the enemy deck. We have the Hydra Elite, the Taskmaster, who gets +1 scheme and +1 attack for each upgrade you control. That's no fun. So as a boost card for this activation, the villain gets +1 scheme and +1 attack for each upgrade you control. So here's his scheme, Killer for Hire, pretty basic scheme. Take on Hydra mercenaries, and he's got his own treachery card. Now I don't want to go into too much detail. Don't want to spend too much time on this components. We took a detailed look at Black Widow. We're going to go quicker through the Justice deck. We'll focus on some of the new stuff. So we do have Agent Coulson. So after Coulson enters play, search your deck and discard pile for a preparation card. Add it to your hand. Not sure how well he will work in another player's deck other than Black Widow's. We get Quake. After a minion schemes exhaust Quake, deal 2 damage to that minion. Well, that's pretty cool. So you can definitely keep her in play for a while. Stealth Strike, deal 4 damage to an enemy. If the enemy is defeated by this attack, remove 2 threat from a scheme. I really like that. Attack and threat control. Power of Justice. You've looked at Interrogation Room and Surveillance Scene before. Counterintelligence. So when any amount of threat could be placed on the main scheme, discard Counterintelligence. We can stop up to 3 threat. In Spycraft, when you reveal an encounter card, discard Spycraft to cancel the effects of the card, then reveal another card from the encounter deck, but you have to be a spy to use it. Now when we're looking at the new and also the included basic cards, Nick Fury, these are the ones we've seen before. The Quinn Carrier is new, which is only for Avengers. Exhaust to generate a resource. So preparation, so we got Target Acquire, which is also a preparation card. So we're starting to see these come into play. So after a boost card is turned face up, discard Target Acquire to cancel the boost ability. Now, we do have these other cards. Now we've got the stop card right here. And I always keep these because it has just the details for the deck. So we do gain some new cards for just the aggression deck. So counterattack. So it's max 1 per player. After you take damage from an enemy, discard counterattack to deal an equal amount of damage back to the enemy. I like that. So these are all preparation cards. So it gives you a few different options besides just playing with a Justice deck. So after an ally you control is defeated, discard Rapid Response to put that ally into play from your discard pile and deal 1 damage to it. I do like that to get allies back into play. Could be really good with some strong ally decks. And Defensive Stance, when you would take any amount of damage, discard Defensive Stance to prevent 3 of that damage. That's cool too. And then lastly, Espionage, only for spies. When the search keyword on an encounter card would be resolved, discard Espionage and you get to draw 2 cards. So overall, pretty good. And there you have it. We've taken a look at the contents of the Black Widow Hero Pack. These are all the components. Now keep it right here as Julie and I will be coming back at you with a review of this expansion. So the Black Widow expansion, Hero Pack. This Hero Pack plays far different than the ones that we've played in the past, as well as the ones in the base game. What did you think of the gameplay? And give some comments about it. I'd like to give a little bit of a teach before we go into a review of this expansion.
Well, it plays differently, and as you started alluding to in the intro, it's good to have different types of characters for different types of styles of play, but also to put a little bit of variety there. You don't want them all to play the same, then you don't need an expansion pack, do you?
No. As well, when there's some new villain packs, as well as, or they call them scenario packs, it's going to give you some different ways to tackle those scenarios, and that's what I really like about Black Widow. So Black Widow is less of a how can I say? She's less of a Thor or She-Hulk type of aggression character. She definitely is more on the skills and technical. She's like a combination, I'd say, of a bunch of different characters. And you really have to play her differently to get the best out of her character. Oh, and I agree. As talking about Thor, She-Hulk, Captain Marvel using an aggression deck, those are definitely your frontline fighters. This character is far more about, I would say, support and utility. I'm actually not sure how well she would play as a solo character. Now, it'd probably be fairly challenging. She has some strong abilities, but the way her health works does make it fairly challenging. She's really the type of character where you're going to be switching in and out of your alter ego form constantly, whereas you may not do that with Thor. I mean, if you get the right stuff and you're playing especially solo with Thor, you might just be like, no, Thor smash, Hulk smash or She-Hulk smash. Those are actual options, whereas with Black Widow, one big attack from a villain, and especially if you got their minions as well, could almost decimate your health. That being said, she's very good at countering their schemes and actually thwarting the villains. And you've got a lot of cool cards, which is specifically the new prepared mechanic, which lets you actually cycle through your deck quickly. But to do that, you need to be, playing as Black Widow, go to your alter ego, play your cards, using your ability and chaining things together to get out as many cards as possible, because that's where she really shines, is when you've got things like her grappling hook or her Widow's Bite, and you're able to start damaging minions as they come into play, or just straight up canceling treachery cards and other cards that the villain is playing during that encounter phase.
I like the capacity to be able to do some attack as well, and she has some big hits. She has a couple of cards that allow you to do some big damage as well. And like you said, if you're cycling through your deck, you can get them to come out fairly often as well.
No, exactly, but that's a big difference with Black Widow, is that you need to get her big cards in order to do big damage. So definitely in a 2-player game or a 3-4-player game as a support character, there's a lot of really cool things that she can do. Her ally like Quake, who can constantly remove threat when she's just in play, is something that I actually really like. So it's very interesting, and I would say that, at least in my opinion, I don't know if Julie shares his opinion, she's probably the first utility character that we're really seeing added into the game. And it's something that I think that the game needed. She's not my favorite by any means, but that does not mean that she's not a welcome addition to the game. So we talked a bit about how to play. Let's talk about our experiences playing with her, and then we'll give you our actual score for this expansion.
Yeah, so when I played, I had a little bit of bad luck, I think, with the way cards came out, and I was getting a lot of prep cards, and also I wasn't, I was the first one to play with her. I think we realized as I played that you needed to flip back and forth more often, so I had a little bit of trouble playing with her. She's also not necessarily my style of play. As I said, I like, I like to smash.
She used to like to be a sniper, then she played a Wookiee, now she likes to smash things.
So I do go back and forth with like a player like She-Hulk to be able to thwart and do things like that as well. I find that with this one I didn't necessarily switch back and forth as much, and I got hit quite a few times, and we got stuck with me not being able to help much, not having anything I could do really with the cards that were coming up.
No, you kind of had a really bad starting hand. All of her big hits and big thwarts were all at the bottom of the deck, which was definitely something that is frustrating.
Yeah. What about your experience?
So in my experience, I think that after watching Julie play, I really figured out how the character worked. I was constantly flipping back between alter ego. I was doing everything I could, got a lot of prepared cards out. If you actually go to our Instagram, you can see some pictures. I think I have almost 10 different cards out, which let me do a lot of cool stuff. The villain actually had a big round, and with Black Widow's cards, I was able to cancel a lot of it and then directly move into thwarting Rhino, which was a lot of fun. And we played against a more difficult villain, then we played against an easier villain, just to sort of really gauge how the character worked. And I gotta say, it was fun. I hadn't played any character that was quite like her. I did miss getting those big hits in, but I was still satisfied with some of the cards that I got, though. For example, let me take out a minion and then get a nice thwart off at the same time. And that's something that she's able to do that you don't get with other characters. Also, the counterintelligence cards and being able to cancel threat, even cancel treachery cards, was just a lot of fun. And I feel that there's definitely some scenarios, and I was just thinking about playing against Ultron or Claw, or in a much larger game, so not larger, but a higher player count game, she could really make the difference and keep the game sort of on the side of the heroes and not spiraling out of control. Kind of like when we were talking about playing with Thor against Ultron, just some of his abilities to just get over here, just let him be like basically the Ultron destroyer. Yeah. And I think that there's definitely scenarios that are very focused with the villain doing more scheming and generating threat, that she's going to come in incredibly handy.
So what about, what's your rating?
So yeah, I think we've talked enough about it. Is there any downsides that you would say to her character that you didn't like?
Well, I mean, it's the card game. It's the way it works. If your cards are coming up and there's nothing you can do, it's frustrating, which happened to me. But it's not really a downside of her character.
No, I don't really find any major negatives to this character. I think the prepared mechanic is going to be a cool new mechanic going forward. We do get some cards from some other aspects, so it'll be interesting to see how that comes into play. And I'd actually like to try her with an aggression or leadership aspect, just to highlight with everyone, we only played her with the starting deck. We did not do any customization. So our score will be based on what's in the box.
So
I give her a 7. I think that she's a very useful character. I think that anyone that is a fan of Marvel Champions is going to love having her in their deck and as an addition to the game. But if you're someone that's a little cooler on it, you're not a big collector, and you're really trying to budget which heroes that you're going to want to bring in, I think that she's one of the ones that would probably make it more so on the bottom of the list.
I was a little disappointed with her lack of aggression, so for me, that's the reason I'm giving it a 6.5.
But don't forget, you could make an aggression deck with her. That's why I'm giving it a 7, because we didn't do any of the customization.
Okay, I still give her a 6.5 for what she is in the box.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
So on that note, I'd like to remind you that you can like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell to be notified if you have any when we have new content for you.
Yes, and down below in the video description, you'll find links to all of our social media feeds. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. As I said, you'll find pictures of us playing as Black Widow on our Instagram and Facebook. Also Twitter. We don't tweet as much with some comments, but lots of pictures as well if you want to check that out. And then popping up in front of us, right in front of me, you'll see a link to our most recently released video. And in front of Julie will be our link to our review and how to play of Marvel Champions, the card game. So, what time is it now? We had a quick real-life incident, so I'm going to continue where we were. So, as I just said on the video, I will now say again, what time is it, Julie?
Well, it's time to grab our drinks.
Grab our best friend.
We're going to keep playing games.
We're going to keep playing games. Going to keep playing this one. We'll have Doctor Strange. We'll have our unboxing and review coming in July. And then finally, in August, we'll be caught up to where the rest of the world is. Can't wait.
Can't wait for Doctor Strange. That'll be fun.
Well, August is Hulk. So it'll be Jason Smash.
No, Julie Smash.
What?
Yeah.